Now, back to York's only local show on York's only local station. The Gary Sutton Show on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. I want to tell you about Harvey's Rental. I'll tell you what an outstanding place they are. And over the years, they have proven to help people out all over the place right now, and they can help you out as well. You know, Harvey's Rental is located right here in York, and they're at 1409 South George Street. You can check them out at 17403 and call them at 845-2789. They are an outfit that has been around here for over 60 years. That's exactly right. And when it comes to renting something, whether you need equipment to do a job, whether you're having a party, graduation, maybe you're just having a winter party, maybe you're getting ready for some kind of, a sports party to watch the Super Bowl, something like that. Harvey's Rental is the place to go. 1409 South George Street right here in York, and they have the most to rent under one roof. They have rentals for contractors and homeowners, weddings, parties, special events, and more. Doesn't matter what it is, you check with Harvey's Rental, and they will be able to help you almost all the time. So why don't you check them out today, Harvey's Rental. Give them a call at 717-845-2789. Tell them Gary Sutton sent you. And they're open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day of the week. They are closed on Saturdays and Sundays, but they're ready to help you today. No matter what it is, Harvey's Rental, tell them Gary Sutton sent you and proudly endorses them every single day.
I thought some old football music.
Well, that is old football music. Yeah. That's the old NFL on CBS music, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Which, by the way, I thought was much better than what they have today. I like this a lot better. Anyway, welcome back. Gary Sutton Show. It is 7:36 right now, where it is now up to 19 degrees. I mean, hey, it's going up. You can take your sweater off. Anyway, Cade Pribula, Friday morning quarterback here this morning. And, of course, Cade, I don't know how to introduce you anymore. You're like a budding NFL agent, right? You're working on that, and you're a former quarterback at the University of Delaware, Bo Pribula's brother. How do I introduce you the best way now, my friend?
You always do a great job. You hit it all. I've been around football my whole life, from York, proud to be from York. I'm a lot like you, good golfer. That's a good thing. You do a great job every time.
Slow down a little bit. Just slow down a little bit. No, you know what impresses me is you picked up golf 3 years ago? Am I right on that?
Yeah, right when I basically was finished playing football, I decided to start golfing. But I play about just as much as you, though. So it's not crazy that I've gotten good fast, because I play 5 times a week when it's nice out.
I am so impressed with your game. And you're a good athlete, but if you're hanging out with Cade, which I do sometimes, we play some golf. Now, as it's getting higher and higher here in the NFL thing, he's dealing with me less and less. He's becoming more of a celebrity, and but anyway, I'm kidding. But no, he is really good. I mean, you really have a great swing. So it's fun to watch you play. I always enjoy that, and you're very meticulous. That's the other thing you find out about Cade. He's very meticulous. He keeps records on what he's doing. That's all. That's that quarterback mind, isn't it?
It's a good sport. I know a lot of good quarterbacks enjoy golf, and Tony Romo's a good golfer. Tom Brady was a good golfer, so it's a good sport to be good at. Bo's a good golfer too, actually.
Hey,
he doesn't get to play as much, but he's a good golfer.
Yes, he is. So there you go. And anyway, so how's your brother making out of Missouri so far? That was one of the big stories, obviously, at the end of 2024. Is he kind of settling in there? Are things starting to kind of, be a little bit more familiar for him?
He honestly, he's been there for 10 days, and he absolutely loves it. I can transparently, openly say that I think it's been a smooth transition for him. Missouri's a school that is a transfer portal school. I think there's a certain percentage of the roster. I don't want to give a percentage that's not true, but a high percentage of the roster transferred at some point in their career. So they're very open to transfers, and they have a good culture around that. And there's a vacancy for Bo. He's stepping in after Brady Cook was very successful there, their quarterback for a few years. He left, and he's training for the NFL draft right now. So there's a void, and Bo came in to fill it, and I think he's already stepped into some type of leadership role in the team, and he's doing well.
How the sports landscape has changed. You and I have talked about that a lot. I'm not really going to talk about it much today, but it's just amazing. And for a lot of people that were never used to this, like me, for example, it is something new to get used to now. As you watch people moving around and the transfer portal and all the things happening with the money, and you and I have talked about that ad nauseum. So I don't want to belabor that today, but it is a much different landscape now. Speaking of landscape, you had some changes you'd like to see next year in the college football structure. Talk about that a little bit this morning, because I think it's really important.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk. When Bo initially got in the portal, it was pretty big news because he was leaving the team before the playoff, and Coach Franklin came out and said something publicly. Bo, in his message, mentioned that the structure kind of disallowed him to stay on the team and see all opportunities that were there for him.
Right.
In the portal. So I've seen some things recommended online. I'm not going to say these are all my ideas, but I think this is how it should be. I think they should eliminate the conference championships.
Okay.
So eliminate that and move the playoffs up 1 week. They should eliminate the Army-Navy weekend. I know I might piss some people off for saying that. Paul Feinbaum said the same thing. They should eliminate the week for that. So move the playoffs up another week. They should eliminate, there's a dead week in between those two. Move the playoffs up another week. So the playoffs should essentially start the first week of December.
Okay.
So I'm fine with 12 teams, maybe expand to 16. That wouldn't add another week.
Right.
But we've seen that I do like rewarding the top 4 teams for having a good season. So I'm okay with 12 or 16. And basically my thing is the national championship should be on or around New Year's Eve, and then the portal doesn't open until after that.
Well, that's a great set of changes. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing the 16 and seeing everybody have to play a first-round game. I don't think there's any problem with that either. You know, if you're going to play 1 against 16 and 2 against 15, that whole thing. I don't know that you get necessarily rewarded because it's kind of a false reward when you think about it. I don't need, you're getting 16 teams in, so now the reality starts that everybody ought to be, playing all 4 weeks to win the national championship as opposed to one having to play for 3 weeks. So I don't know. That would be the only change I would see that might make some sense. And you said you'd be open to that anyway, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's kind of like the college basketball model. If you go undefeated in the regular season in college basketball, you still play in the round of 64.
Exactly. So, yeah. And
you're kind of right. And I'm sure that the NCAA would be happy because it's just it's 3 extra games or whatever it is.
But you mentioned about Bo's situation, and so many people said, "Oh my gosh, he's leaving Penn State." But if he sticks around for the playoffs, all the portal, jobs are basically closed down at that point, and you've missed out. So the timing here seems to be the big thing. If we're on this new landscape that we're talking about, that it seems to be that maybe the timing, you bring it all back like that. You don't start the whole open portal thing until after New Year's and in the new year. I think that makes a heck of a lot of sense, which is probably why it won't work because it makes way too much good sense on that, Cade.
That's a good point. That's probably exactly why it won't work.
Now, Cade, what else? Any other changes you saw this year that you'd make in terms of either the college football playoffs or maybe college football in general that you see coming down the road here? We've seen NIL, we've seen the portal in the last few years. That's all been huge. Anything else you're seeing down the way here that might be changing on the college football horizon? Yeah,
I think they need to. The college football needs to kind of separate itself a tiny bit and put together a collective bargaining agreement similar to the NFL and actually make these contracts enforceable. Right now, they are signing with the school the old scholarship that they've been doing for 30 years. That's one set of legal documents. And then there's the salary that they're signing with the collective to get them paid. When you hear about the money the players are getting paid, that's a completely separate contract, and it's extremely loose, not very binding. I'd like to see it have some structure, like the NFL has. Maybe these guys are signing 1-year contracts, 2-year contracts where they have to stay. And I don't think the portal should be open multiple times a year. I think it should be open kind of like free agency, like once a year in the off season. Everything happens, and then you're signed up for that team for the next year. And if you messed up and if you don't like your situation, well, that's kind of on you and whoever's guiding you.
So it gives just at least a little bit of stability out in that wild landscape right now, right?
Yeah, they should just copy the NFL model. I think the NFL kind of hasn't figured it out. There's a lot of stability there, a lot of stuff that makes sense. And there's smart people at the top that could figure it out. And I think there's a role for kind of what I do. We help college football players manage those decisions and negotiate with the schools to make sure they are being protected in those contracts and getting paid what they deserve. So I think there's a role for kind of what me and some of my business partners have built in helping these guys navigate all this.
Here's a tricky one for you. I think I saw the other day, right at the end of the Biden administration, and maybe you saw this, maybe you didn't, where they wanted that money to start to be spread around evenly among women and male sports. And, right now, a lot of that money that is coming in that colleges are now amassing is going primarily to football and basketball for males. What's your thought on that as far as like the Title IX kind of thinking? And it's not yet been sifted out, so it's kind of out there. And I think some people are looking at it and saying, wait a second, what do we do now with this money here? Do we have to kind of stick by the law on going Title IX the whole way through? Or is it the money goes to where the most revenue-producing people in sports are?
Yeah, I think a lot of people worked really hard to get the revenue share to happen. And I think it does make sense. The players on the field risking their health should get rewarded for their popularity and their fame and their name. And when you think of revenue share, I think it should just be proportionate to how much revenue a certain sport brings in. So obviously,
great point.
Football and men's basketball bring in a lot of the revenue. They should get a lot of the revenue share. I don't think that Title IX should play a role in. It just doesn't make sense, because then if that were to happen, so what they're referring to is $20 million every year is allowed to come out of the athletic department budget to the players, and they would have to pay $10 million to the women just to pay $10 million to the men.
Right.
And that is insane money to pay your women's tennis players who don't play in front of fans or aren't on TV.
Right.
It's just the truth.
Yeah, and it's just
that would be crazy to me.
Yeah, and the idea that it's market driven there is really part of what we're talking about here. So just say it's all even, Steven, even though you're not doing the same thing in terms of attracting people into the university to entertainment, is not really right. Finally, Patrick Mahomes getting a lot of heat. The NFL saying, "Oh, we don't really favor him and help him out." Well, it seems to a lot of people that they take care of him pretty well. And this slide thing, I am so sick of seeing quarterback slide. I know you're a quarterback; you probably may be in favor of it, but this idea that guys are starting to tackle you, and all of a sudden you slide and you get penalized for tackling a guy who slid down there. What are your thoughts on that this morning, Cade?
Oh man, that should be our whole topic next week. I could go on and on about this, but I think that if you sign up to play football and you are mad about getting hit late, hit right before you get out of bounds, hit in the pocket, I disagree with all of these calls. I think if you want to protect yourself as a quarterback, go down early and forego those extra 3 yards that you try to pick up.
Right.
Get the hell out of bounds if you want to be protected. Don't start flirting with the out-of-bounds line and then flop when they touch you. And if you're standing in the pocket and you hold on the ball too long, or you throw your receiver into coverage and he gets lit up by the safety, that's on you, and that's what you signed up for. And I don't think we should be. If I play, the next guy in line. That's just kind of how it works. I'm not for protecting these guys.
All right. Hey, you know what? You can keep your man card now. All over that. That's just the greatest answer I've ever heard. I appreciate it. And, yeah. So, anyway, Cade, great to have you in this morning, as always, my friend. We're looking forward to talking to you. How about the next Friday? We'll try to get together again. Can we do 7:05 next Friday? Would that work for you?
That would work for me.
Good.
I'm all for scheduling. Yeah.
We will get you up early, and we know you won't flop for us. Ha-ha. You like that. I did a little football term there. Sorry. Anyway, Cade, thanks so much. Have a great week, my friend. Always good talking to you, all right?
Yep, thank you, Gary. Thanks for having me.
Cade Pribula here on the Gary Sutton Show. It is 7:48 as we play a little NFL music for you. Heading on out. Yeah, it's 19 degrees this morning. Don't forget, text our show right now. Let us know what you think about any of our guests today, what the biggest story was of this past week, and would you like a Capital Region golf card? Let us know that as well by texting us at 833-478-4729. We'll read some of those texts for you throughout the morning. This is 989 WOYK.com. Better yet, you're listening on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.